Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Tristan Walter.
Holy shit, Tristan. This is a long time coming, isn't it? Not you and I particularly, because we've been doing this for a while, podcasting-wise, but when it comes to a Star Wars Wednesday, we are actually doing the Clone Wars. Like, how does it feel, Tristan? Tristan? Oh, okay. I was like, did he die? Is everything okay?
I might have. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Let me just put this frankly. I never thought we'd get here. And here we are. I felt like I'd have some grandiose intro for this. I felt like I'd have something planned, but now that we're finally actually here, I'm just staring in disbelief.
You're just a dog chasing a car, not knowing what to do once you catch it.
I hate you.
Okay, so anyway, we're doing the first 12 episodes of Star Wars The Clone Wars, Season 1, and we're doing this in 12-episode jumbles because I feel like we get the chance to talk about them more and how they're growing, progressing, both the characters as well as the show itself, right? And
yeah.
I feel like something would be lost in the shuffle if we did a full 22 episodes, 22 in the first season, right? Yeah,
yes.
I feel like something would be lost, so I'm happy with just doing the first 12. Yeah. Okay, so first off I want to say the reason why Tristan is saying, we thought we'd never be here, is because I did want to do things up until before this, either in some kind of chronological order via, the movies, we just did all the movies in release date, right? But when it came to the animated stuff and when it came to other live action things, I just wanted to do things in some kind of order in a way. But then also what ended up happening is, Tristan, you've had some trips to Kenya and to Ohio, two very different areas, but both for similar things.
God.
Oh, so Utah. It wasn't Ohio. Utah.
Anyway.
The point is, they're very different places.
Yes, they are.
But you were being Indiana Jones in the same way, both areas. Because of that too, right? It delayed us doing Star Wars Wednesday for a while. So getting here was very interesting because even watching the last movie, right? This is something I've never seen Clone Wars. I don't know how it escaped me as a kid. I just think maybe, I know I loved Star Wars when I was really, really young, where I remember watching the VHS tapes over and over and over. But and also shutting off the VHS tape the second I saw the golden bikini, and I was like, my mother's in the next room. I don't know if this is appropriate for me. I fucking self-policed. What the fuck?
Yeah.
that was me just turning off the VHS, fucking the VCR as a kid. Oh no, there's a golden bikini. I don't know if this is appropriate.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was me as a kid, right? But once Clone Wars came on, I was a teenager, right? This is 2008.
This is 2008.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, so I wasn't out of Star Wars, but the last three, from what I had seen, didn't really pique my interest as much to make me sit there and go, I need to watch the Clone Wars.
Right.
So that, for me at the time, I was like, no, 4, 5, and 6 were great. I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? I remember seeing episode 1. I think I've said the story on the show before. I saw episode 1 in the movie theater with my mom and two of my childhood friends who they're in Ohio, and one of them fell asleep during episode 1.
Damn.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. My mother was very upset. She paid for the tickets. She paid for all of our tickets. Anyway, so watching this now, right, I realize I'm like, damn, I missed out on something good. Now, I don't think the first episode of this show was the best way to start the show off. I'm going to be very real with you. I know it had Yoda, but it kind of threw us into a really weird area. It threw us into, all right, we don't know what's going, basically the fan doesn't know what's going on. But it's but Yoda's here, and they're trying to broker a kind of peace deal, but fights. And I mean, yes, if you'd seen the movie beforehand, you'd have some kind of backstory. right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, but still, it was kind of strange, I think, just a way to throw it out, because there isn't really much Anakin or much or much Obi-Wan or Anakin's Padawan. So it was a very strange situation, I think, to have people, to have these kids, to be like, listen, kids, you're going to love the new Clone Wars series. There's Yoda in it. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. But what's going on right now? You don't even fucking know. Don't even fucking know. Clone Wars shit, kid. Fuck are you questioning it for? Sorry? It was a weird way to open up the show, in my opinion. Do you feel the same, or do you...
I guess I would say at first, yes, it was a little jarring opening, with the pilot episode, pilot movie. Yeah, I know they had a pilot movie, but I always think of this one as a pilot episode.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I think about it, and I've watched it obviously a few times, but by the second or third time I looked over it, it has a lot of the elements of what's going on in the universe at the time, and they even do some key stuff with how Yoda talks to the clones and says, yes, you may all wear the same face, but to the Force, you are all individuals. You all have your own, I guess you could say, personal connection in a way, and it's if learn to quiet your mind, and you will be able to, anyone can tap into it. It goes into the whole idea of, how the Jedi think of their troops, how the troops look at the Jedi, how the clones and battle droids obviously differ. You see how, the Sith work with their underlings, and you get to see how both sides basically deals with a neutral party in the galaxy. Obviously, the Jedi are no, we don't want to drag you into this war either. We just need, a place to put our shit, and we'll, keep you guys out of this as much as possible. Granted, the droids will then bomb the crap out of them for holding a base of the opposite side,
right.
But, yeah.
So now let's talk Star Wars for a second. Matt, what the fuck were you going to do the rest of the podcast? Let's talk Star Wars for a second. Matt, what the fuck were you going to do? Let's talk Star Wars.
Yeah, Matt, what the fuck were you going to do?
Yeah, right? So, I want to talk to you a little bit about Grievous, right? But before I even do that, just talking about the general, the way the war is set up. I mean, look, I'm not someone who knows much about war. I haven't actually read a lot. I just remember what we've been taught in high school, right? No.
I haven't actually, run my own war, so,
Shut the fuck up. There are people who fucking study that shit for a living. Go fuck yourself. Anyway,
I'm not. All right, whatever.
It's so funny. I make fun of him, or fun with him, I hope. I hope it's with him, but so much. And he fires back once, and I'm like, I will fucking murder your face off! I love you, Tristan. I love you so much, Tristan. I think usually what happens is we usually do these shows so late at night that both of us, we're awake, but we're dulled a little bit. But now it's in the middle of the day, so he said that. I'm like, do you want to fucking fight?
Fight me!
Matt, wait,
fight
relax.
Me on air! Fine. We'll give a toin. We'll give a toin call. Oh God. You know what, Matt? Maybe it's not that. Maybe I'm not that away.
We will punch with our mouth fist.
We will have a coin toss. We'll flip to see who gets the battle droids and who gets the clones, and that's how we'll settle this.
I don't think this is fair. I'm gonna flip my 20-sided die.
All right, fair enough.
See if this is. Anyway, but seriously though, right? The way it's set up, it just, I don't know, it just feels strange to me that I'm trying to think of how to word this. I don't know, the way you described the show to me, because I was asking you about it once when you were trying to get me into it, just, when we were just hanging out. I think we were filming For Those Guys Play, our YouTube channel, where we do Let's Plays. So right. I'm pretty sure you were over, and you just, brought season 1, and you were like, watch this, Matt. And so we were watching it. And, it just, I don't know, it feels like it's a giant game of, okay, let's try to win over the people that are kind of in the middle so that they don't become separatists.
I mean, in a way, yes, that is That is a big part of what the Republic has to do, because in the end they are really outnumbered, not even by people per se from the Separatist Alliance. It's the fact that they can manufacture battle droids and just spit them out. And yes, they still need resources and money for that. But arguably, it's easier to make, a droid than it is a clone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, here's the thing, though. It just feels like everyone's a traitor. Like, you look at the Republic, and it feels like the Republic should, and don't hear me out when I say this, the Republic should be like the Empire. Very large, kind of a lot of unity, and, like, they should have at least some kind of, I don't know, like, money, like, good pension. Like, it feels like everyone is just like, I was with the Republic, but then the Separatists. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, I'm fighting against the Republic. Like, is it because potentially the Republic are such, in a way, nice people that people feel like they can betray them easier than something like the Empire, where they rule by fear? So, oh, no, they're going to kill us. But the Republic, oh, no, they wouldn't kill us. In fact, we'll kill them. They won't even see it coming.
Well,
like, do you think maybe
Republic,
that's why?
No, I don't think it's because of that. Really, it's how I felt is that the Republic, some people look at the Republic almost how you're talking about the Empire. Maybe not like, oh, they're out to get us, they're going to kill us, but like they don't care about us. The Republic is the established government, and it's been around for, I don't know the exact dates, but like it's been around for thousands of years at this point. So it's like people are like comfortable with it. They, it's that figurehead that everyone either like, they're doing a great job, or I couldn't give a shit one way or another. And then some people who obviously they're running an entire galaxy. Like, you can see how hard, just in our world it is to run a country. Now imagine that multiplied by billions. And you have plenty of people that fall by the wayside, and those people get angry. Like, there are episodes, like the episode with Padme when she goes to Rhodia. They're like, we are literally starving, and you guys have sent us nothing. And she's like, it's not because we're not trying. Trust me, we are. You matter to me. It's just we have a whole fucking galaxy to run, and the Separatists start making it any easier. But,
right, yes. And apparently, even though it seems
even without
like...
the Separatists, but...
Yes. Well, I was going to say, obviously this happened a long time ago, but of course they have futuristic technology. But even with the futuristic technology, it seems like some areas are very much like, in the U.S., are a bit less technologically advanced.
Yeah.
So, no, because the thing is, it's crazy, like, in a world where you have, like, holograms and things like that. It's just like, literally, Padme, you had to come here, why did you not call? You fucking serious? Like, I know she did it to show good faith. Sure, it shows good faith. But still, like, just the idea of, like, it feels like some places don't know certain things that are happening in the galaxy around them.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Until they're shown.
Plenty of places. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like the opposite effect. Like and this is, like, true stories, like, where you'd have a story of where, like, you'd find a guy on an island, right, in a World War II outfit, and you're like, are you okay? And he's like, did we win? Are we still fighting? It's like the opposite of that, where it's just literally like, we're in a war, right? Are we really?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. It's like, look, I'm just trying to live my life, man.
Right, exactly.
Because it's funny. In the U.S., and of course I would assume in our world just in general, it's hard to say, oh, I'm trying to live my life, politics aren't going to affect me. It's like, no, they're going to affect you either positively or negatively. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to affect you.
It's
but in a galaxy that large,
it's going to affect you.
What? No, wait, I'm sorry, what was that?
I said one way or another, yes, it's going to affect you.
Yes, but in a galaxy that large, in the funniest way possible, it might not, right? Unless you have like an empire going around killing people and destroying planets all willy-nilly, it's actually not going to affect you. No, because it's very interesting. As you see the show, it feels like there are just some bandit-type characters that, they're like, I mean, you look at the last three-parter, right? It's kind of just like, oh, we're just going to trade them off and make money off of it. And it's just like, do you fucking understand what you're getting yourself involved in?
Right, yeah. And I mean, like, that's
know.
A whole nother mentality. Right. Like, they're pirates, but yeah. No, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, no, like, obviously they know. They understand the logistics. They're pirates. They're not idiots. They're not like, you know, like, oh, man, what's all this? But, like, it's still kind of like, you really don't know what you're fucking with right now, do you? Like, you don't get it. Because if they worked with the Republic or worked with the Separatists directly, they would not be trying to do this fucking trade.
No,
they'd be scared shitless. But they're just like, no, I'm just trying to do my thing. You know?
It's funny. Like, there's a huge point that I feel like gets glossed over a lot in this universe. Like, the Jedi and Sith, obviously, they're only, you know, two different sects of thinking that, you know, view the Force. There are two different viewpoints on the Force. There are plenty of other viewpoints. But people don't realize how many people in the galaxy, how many everyday people in the galaxy, in the Star Wars universe, have never seen a Jedi, or have, you know, obviously have no idea what a Sith is.
Right.
Because there's only about 10,000 at their peak in the Jedi Order, and so that's a pretty sizable number. However, you have a galaxy of billions of people, so
and they're not all going out on missions.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of people only hear the stories or think of the legends, and so, like, at one point when I think it was Hondo, the pirate, you know, talking to Dooku when they capture him when he crash lands, and he goes, like, he doesn't have his lightsabers. He's like, oh, reaching for your laser swords, Jedi? And he goes, I am no Jedi. No,
what's even funnier?
Let it be known that you are dealing with a Sith Lord. And he goes, oh, well, a Sith Lord. Well, it doesn't matter either way. You're still outnumbered.
No, he's not. But what's really funny is, here's what's really funny. Your first thought was him. My first thought, Misa Jedi. Capture the Jedi. No, because
to be completely fair,
droids.
Right.
What?
To be completely fair, I love that. I love that so hard that they thought Jar Jar was a Jedi. Like, it hurt in a specific way. Like, I was like, like, even for me, that was a little jarring. But then as the episode went on, I'm like, this is fucking hysterical. This is great.
God damn it.
Think Jar Jar
he was meant to be annoying.
Jedi.
He was meant to be annoying. His fucking name is Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar.
Well,
it's fucking jarring. God damn it. I wouldn't put it past them. God fucking.
This point has already been made, but I actually like Jar Jar's character. But yeah, anyway.
So I'm going to be very real with you. I think people know this if they've seen our other podcasts on Star Wars. I don't.
Right.
But here's the thing. Thing. But hear me out, though. What I don't like is when it seems like shows or movies also don't like the character.
Right.
Now, what I mean by that is...
You pointed this out to me when you were watching them.
Yeah, like before the podcast, yes.
Right, before the show.
Before the show. It's a problem to me because, like, it feels like the movies. Now, it's funny. I should never say this aloud, but I'm going to try to, because it's in comparison to the show that I've seen thus far. It feels like the movies had more respect for Jar Jar Binks than this show has already. Because, like, it feels like in the movies, despite, yes, we have moments where, like, Jar Jar is tripping over himself. It feels like there's still a sense of, like, oh, no, but Jar Jar understands that he actually has two fucking legs. Now, yes, his people swim a lot, right? Like, so, like, obviously, like, I think the point to try to make is, like, oh, he doesn't have his land legs. Like, he's more of a, you know, like, they're, you know, they fish, or no, they fish. They swim, and he can talk to the, you know, to the fish in the sea and everything, or into the lakes or whatever. But still, just this general idea of, like, Misa, not know what living is. And it's like, okay, like, no, like, every single time.
This is a different swamp altogether.
Yeah, no, and everyone looks at him and they're just like, Jar Jar, it looks like you've saved the galaxy. Holy fucking shit, I mean, how did you manage that, you big fuck up? Misa, no. Oh, no, okay. Misa trip over air. It's just like this... No, I don't know. It feels like they don't like him because he literally trips over air. And it's like, guys, like, I don't think he was this bad in the movies. I'm not saying I liked him. I didn't. It's just like, it feels like they didn't either, and they're like, oh, we're going to make him such a huge fuck-up. And then he somehow manages to accidentally... Now, granted, there was one line in the episode where Jar Jar was a Jedi that I can't stop laughing at no matter how many times. Just, it's when Padme was discussing with C-3PO. Like, C-3PO's like, the ship has been destroyed.
Destroyed. Yes. Battle droids?
Yes.
No. Jar Jar? Jar Jar.
My favorite fucking line. Because that one is like, okay, you get that one line. Like, you can get a one line in, and Jar Jar can trip a little bit. But it was so much. And even though it's like, hey, here's the thing too, right? Usually, in my opinion anyway, like, there's a moral of the story. Right? Especially because, guess what? Sorry, everyone, this show was for kids. We just liked it because it was that damn good overall. But the show was for kids. So you would think, oh, there's a moral to the story. Right? I mean, heck, every episode, many of the episodes, at least in the first, 4 or 5, have, a really sad end or, a somber end to it. But it felt like this end wasn't like, wow, we should really start respecting you, Jar Jar. It was more like, beyond everyone's comprehension, you didn't fuck up for X amount of time. Don't worry, though. You'll keep on, next episode, next week, we'll make sure to have our scheduled fuck up for Jar Jar. Cool? And he's like, misa, misa. Mesa, mesa. It's just I don't know. And again, this is coming from a guy who doesn't like Jar Jar Binks.
Right.
And it just feels like they wrote him in a way where he had to be even worse than what he was in. Now, maybe, you have more context than I do. You don't have to answer this or not. I'm just saying it out loud. Maybe he'll grow throughout the show. They'll respect him more. But it's just crazy that in the first season, in the first 12 episodes, they give you a moment where you're really like, wow, I think I can start to respect Jar Jar. And everyone's like, well, you somehow managed to do it. I don't know. It's because the thing is, too, is even though it was with his own people, he brokered a peace deal.
Yeah.
He ends up being part of the Senate-ish.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm assuming, they work towards that and they understand that. That's why they didn't, make him not save the day. I understand the phrase, well, Matt, he still saved the day. Yes, but it still feels like it's not an accomplishment when everyone's just like, I would be offended if someone said, wow, Matt, you actually did it. They're like, fuck you.
Right.
That's not praise. That's, wow, look. Well, somehow Matt was able to do it. Are you serious?
Wow, Matt, we actually got around to casting on Clone Wars.
Yeah, right? I wouldn't sit there and be like, oh, thanka. I'd be like, wait a minute, no. Oh, speaking of the voice. Speaking of the voice that I've been doing, the actor that does his voice, same actor from the movies, happy they got him back on, right? Because I do like that sense of continuity when it comes to voice actors, right? Now, and I know you notice this too, what's so strange is he didn't keep the voice up all the time. Yeah. And it kind of threw me off. In the last 3 episodes when Jar Jar appeared, right, he had a standard Jar Jar voice. Then a character died. A character that I assume I'm not going to know anything about because he died in a show between 2 movies.
Yeah.
But
no, he was a part of the Senate. That was it.
Are you saying I shouldn't care about our galactic senators, Tristan? We voted them in galactically.
I know. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you should honor them and their sacrifice when it inevitably happens.
What was his name? What was his name?
Shut up.
I fucking thought you'd know. You'd be like, actually, I've read all 5 books that were made about him, so fuck you. Anyway, so we, so like I was saying,
had to call me out, didn't you?
My bad.
My bad. Call me out.
You usually know everything about everything. My bad. Okay, so anyway, so he dies, right? And Jar Jar gets sad, and I'm like, okay, he's going to be somber throughout the entire episode. That's why his voice changed.
Senator Farn, maybe. That might have been it. Not sure. Anyway.
All right. Either way. Well, I mean, you're not the one putting it on his tombstone. So anyway, so he died, and Jar Jar gets somber, and his voice is a bit deeper, and I'm like, oh, this is wow, he's sad. But then he kept it going while he's talking about clankas, and I'm like, did you get sick, dude? Is that why your voice sounds like this right now? Because it's not oh, every time there's a death, Jar Jar's personal tragedy meter goes up and his voice gets deeper. So by the fucking end of the series, it's like, Yusa.
Oh my god.
Like, you're like, no, like, Jar Jar sounds like Jar Jar. There can be vocal variation, of course. I'm not saying that, the character has to only sound a certain way. That's very limiting to an actor. But when you change it up for a scene, like if he's going to scream or he's going to get angry or he's going to, be sad, that's cool. But then when he's not being sad the next scene, why does he keep the same voice?
Right.
It was very weird, and it was literally like half the episode. It was like, Misa, and then the other half was like, Misa. Oh,
right.
Oh, look at Clanka. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I wonder,
like, what are you doing?
I wonder if it was more of, like, Jar Jar as a character trying to sound more dignified because now he's the senator in charge? That's the only thing I could think of.
No. And that sounds funny to me. It's just that, like, subtlety is weird on a children's show and, like, in this way where they don't ever mention it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, because I understand, because you can kind of fan canon your way around, like, well, his people are usually underwater, so they can trip, when they're in, like, he can be a little bit like, whoa, when he's walking, right? Less, like a little bit more clumsy.
It's pretty much just him. Like, the rest of his people
I know. We saw
born warriors. Too. Yeah. Episode 1, God damn it.
My bad. Wow, that movie was good. No, I really like that scene. And I'm like, the movie was good.
Oh, God.
So I have a question for you. Getting away from, not getting to Grievous yet, but moving away from Jar Jar. Did you like Cloak of Darkness, which is the one where we had Ahsoka and Luminara fighting Ventress? Did you like that one?
Yes, I did. Because it was actually a point I was going to say to you before. Like, okay, you can argue that yes, this is mostly intended to be a kids show, but it does have its darker moments, and I feel like it gets darker than the movies do. Like, well, at times, because the movies technically have their kill scenes too, but because or you would mention like there's a happy ending, and it's like this episode with Ventress, it's like the one Senate guard that betrays the Republic and helps Nute Gunray escape with Ventress, he was a traitor, so like you could argue like he gets what he deserved in the end, but like so many scenes like get really, really heart-wrenching, or not heart-wrenching, but like oh, didn't see that one coming, or kind of did. Like the stab, when she stabs him in the back, it's like through the chair, and the blade is just there, and he's like looking down and then looking back up, and she's like, I'll tell him myself, and then just deignites the lightsaber. It's like, oh no.
So I fucking got you. I was so happy that I did it.
I did like the fact that we got to showcase Ventress in this episode a little bit more than the pilot did.
Yes, but I got you, and I didn't think I could do it. Oh, by pilot, you mean like the original movie?
No, sorry, the first episode with Yoda, because Ventress is there in Dooku's stead, and it's kind of like, what are you doing here? It's like, no, because Dooku is running the Separatist Senate. Like, he's the Chancellor, not the Chancellor, Prime Minister? No. Anyway, he's running the government, technically. Yeah.
Right. So, now, here's the funny thing. Now, I got him, everyone. He's wondering. He's like, what do you mean? Like, it's funny how you haven't been picking up on it. Like, I got you. And, because you're sitting here talking about how much you love the episode. And while you know him from his other famous works, Paul Dini wrote this episode, and that's the guy who wrote most of Ewoks.
Well, you know what? I'm glad he's
you.
doing something now.
Well, hey, but no. I love it. Doing something now. Dude, he worked on Tiny Toons, Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond. He helped make Harley Quinn.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so he's done other things too. That's good. I'm glad to see, he's done other things. I'm happy to hear that.
It's just really, really, really funny because, like, I saw his name and I was like, I remember you. Sadly, not from Harley Quinn, but because we talked about Ewoks in such a fashion. So I'm sitting around and I'm like, I'm going to ask Tristan about this. I'm going to see what he has to say. And you're just heaping so much fucking praise on it. And I'm like, yes.
Hey, everyone's got to start somewhere, you know? All right?
Well, he actually started with He-Man.
All right.
Yeah.
So, all right.
No, he wrote a number of episodes
of He-Man. It was a rough year, all right? It was like, they probably called him in like, oh, we got this Star Wars kids show that you could work on. He's like, oh, great. It's like, so it's about the Ewoks. Oh, fuck.
You know, I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm just being biased here. Although because I don't have the episode list in front of me. We had it when we actually did the podcast, which you can go back and check, right, which happened last year. Funnily enough, I think those were the ones we liked the most. Like the most action-packed ones, I believe, were written by Dini.
We're right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Which is really funny. So literally, I'm like, dude, do you know who this guy is? And we're talking about him, obviously in the episode. And now it's just like, we found you again. Like, how are you doing? That's an episode Tristan liked. But it isn't your. Now, question: is it your favorite episode out of these 12?
No.
Okay. No. I don't know what my favorite is because I did like the Jar Jar one. In a way, like, it was different from the rest, right? It kind of like we took a break from the rest of it. We actually got to see Padme. However, because of the way they treated Jar Jar, it's not my favorite. I might really, really, really like the episode in Grievous's base.
Yeah, that's definitely up there.
Yeah. What about for you? What do you think? What's your favorite out of all 12?
I also really enjoy the first arc that they do after the Yoda episode, the Malevolence arc.
Yes,
because it really felt like it was the first full arc, and within it they basically stated in the series, it's like, yeah, this is a show that everyone can enjoy. It's gonna have its dark moments because we have a war going on. It's still Star Wars, and they didn't pull any punches because. Literally, when they find the super weapon that the Separatists were building with the giant ion cannon in the side of the ship, and they disable Plo Koon's ship and they jettison out into escape pods, they send out a pod hunter with battle droids to destroy the escape pods and leave the clones to the cold, harsh vacuum of space.
That was scary.
Granted, it's not like it's being dismembered, but like when they're like, oh, we found another pod, I wonder if they're all right. It's like, well, let's see. Oh God, he's hanging out of the window. Like that just struck me. Like, so this is gonna be this is gonna be a theme. Like, it's gonna get real from time to time.
It's not your dad's
and
Star Wars.
I fucking loved it. Yeah. And the other part of that arc that I really loved was when Anakin leads his strike force, Shadow Squadron, in Y-Wings, no less. Like, I love that because it explains where Y-Wings came from. It's like, yes, in the Clone Wars, the clone armies used Y-Wings. The Rebellion then picks up the decommissioned, ships of the original Republic army because that's all they can get. And that's always really cool to me. But anyway, Anakin leads his strike force. And by the end of it, like, he lost over half his squadron. And there's a scene at the end of the episode where he walks up to the head nurse of the medical station, and she's like, please don't underestimate the value of the lives that you've helped save here today. And he's like, of course not, but I also can't let go of the fact of the men that I lost here today. And he just walks out to the hangar and is just standing there in the hangar looking out at space. And R2 is next to him, and then Ahsoka, like, slowly just walks up and stands beside him, and the episode ends. Like, I really love it because you get to finally get a glimpse of why we actually like Anakin Skywalker, because the movie did a terrible job of portraying that. In this series, you get to have a likable Anakin, and it's so fucking important.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Because Yeah, and it's not just because I've said that he's unlikable in the movie, so I clearly agree with you on that basis. But like, and it's not even the actor's fault, because you might say like, oh no, like you might say no, it's both actors' fault, and I'm like, no, it's the fact that like, I mean, it's the writing. Yes, there are some lines that I think maybe could have been delivered better, but again, it's very hard to deliver shit sometimes. So some people can make it work. It was hard for him too as well, and you could put the onus on him a little bit, but it still wasn't. Like, we saw Anakin at the worst parts of his life, and we were supposed to love him and forget that one day he basically becomes a genocidal maniac.
Right.
Like, we're supposed to sit back and just be like, nah, but he's a kid, so he's likable. Also, that's going to be his future wife. We'll get to that in the next movie. Next movie, they're in love. They're teenagers in love. It's just like, no one wanted to see either phase of his life.
Right.
And then the third movie comes around, and as he's starting to become evil, people in a weird way like him more, because it's like, okay, this is the him that we know, right?
Right.
And then you have a show like this where he's not being evil, at least at this point, right? But he's clearly showing, like, I don't know, like his angst here feels like, I guess because you gave him a Padawan, it's still more like of an uncle, older brother angst rather than being like a child, teen. Because like in the episode 2, like it really was just like, oh my god, like I don't know, like it was really like,
yeah.
At least the earlier parts. Yeah, it was very much just like,
it was bad.
Yeah. Now, granted, I do like the interactions between him and Obi-Wan, and of course you have to keep that because I mean they're like they're together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're not just going to like separate them forever. Yeah.
That's why I love. Well, that's another thing I love of this series. Like the interactions between Obi-Wan and Anakin are more like Episode 3, where they're brothers with each other. Like they joke around, they pal around. Obi-Wan's like he'll give him shit, but in a sarcastic way, and not like just belaying him or ordering him or saying like, Anakin, you fucked up again.
Yeah.
It's like I know you're going to do this your own. I know you're going to do this your own way, but please try and not get killed while you're doing it.
Yes. So now what I want to say is that speaking of the first arc, I wasn't a fan of the first arc. Now, here's the reason why. Now, here's the thing. First off, you're right. It's our first chance to look at the universe as a full arc. And I think that's a good, it's a good thing. Like, I'm not saying it was the worst arc to start off with, but I think it was underwhelming just like the first episode. Now, for different reasons, though. Now, mind you, this is just my opinion. I know, like, the entire podcast is our opinions, but, like, this truly is, like, my opinion. I'm not a big fan of mechs, like, fighting. And I know that might sound crazy because you're like, fucking Matt, you watch Power Rangers, like, you used to watch Power Rangers, like, Super Sentai, what the fuck is your problem? I'm a bigger fan of hand-to-hand combat. So even though the mech fights can be cool in a show like Power Rangers, Super Sentai, I mean, even though Ultraman isn't a mech show, still it's giant monsters fighting, dude with wrestling power. But like even with something like Ultraman, right? And you've seen Ultraman, it's more of like a grapple style that I prefer, just not one-to-one on the ground because they're, large. So they're like she's throwing them across desert plains and shit, right? And or in cities. So that I like. But when it comes to mechs or, just like giant space battles, there's a bit, it's very impersonal to me. And it's hard for me to get into. Now, here's another problem I had. It was a 3-parter, but they ended each episode definitively. And that threw me off. Because I'm like, wait, this is the Malevolence arc, right? And then they end the episode, in my opinion, definitively, with like Anakin staring off into deep space, sad about what happened. And the next episode, you just have the narrator. By the way, this is still going. You may have thought it wasn't, but it really is. And you're like, oh, okay. Because like usually when it comes to like usually a 3-parter now I'm happy they did something different. It just doesn't really work for me. Where I feel like in any show that does a 3-parter or a 4-parter or whatever the thing is, you end it on a cliffhanger every time.
Right.
And I'm sure it happens later on in the show because you've told me there were some weeks where you'd be like, I need the next one. So I assume the cliffhangers become like more prevalent. Because
it may not necessarily be like a cliffhanger, but I feel like the flow of the one episode into another becomes a little more polished.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because here I could swear it felt like all 3 episodes, not all, all 3 could be their own episode. At least you feel like they're going to be by the end of that episode. You're like, okay, so then they're done here, and maybe they'll get back to another time or whatever. And then all of a sudden, they end it, and then the next episode is like, actually, here we are yet again. And you're like, oh, shit, okay. Right, Malevolence, cool, yes.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know how I felt about – it's just very – I really don't know how I felt about the multi-part episodes. Like, I really enjoyed – like some of the more, like, I guess one-offs, or the ones that felt like they were one-offs, like having, having Jar Jar be a Jedi, or having Grievous as, base be overrun by, the Jedi and the clone troopers, and just having, first off, having fucking Grievous's medic droid be the most sassiest, like that. If that medic droid had a sass battle with, C-3PO, I really don't know who would win. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was, like, I don't know, I really enjoyed, despite the fact that I didn't like, I can't remember his name. Let me find, he used to be a Padawan, and now he's not anymore. But he's still a freaking impatient dick. He's not a bad guy, he's just very impatient, and it just made me sit there and go, you're going to die, and I'm not going to care as much as I should.
Kit Fisto's,
yes,
former Padawan,
yes,
Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Like,
I really like the fact
that
he was a calamari, though. That, like, in the series, like, oh, a calamari Jedi, that's really cool. I was like, I was sad because they killed him off, but yeah, I saw it coming too. But his character is basically, I think, is supposed to be a foil to Ahsoka in a way. It's like, this is a path that you might find yourself going down. It's like, this is a reality for the Jedi that are being taught and raised during wartime. Like, it does things to you. Like, he even says, it's like, the old rules don't matter anymore. All that matters is strength. And, Kit Fisto's looking at him like, you're not, like, shit, you're not even the kid I trained before. Like, what's going on with you? Like, not the fact that he doesn't, like, know him anymore, or he doesn't understand. Like, I'm sure even in his training he knew, like, this was a possibility for him. It's just more of that look of, like, I knew maybe this would happen to you, but I never really imagined it coming true in front of me. And he even, he still feels broken up, of course, when Grievous delivers the killing blow. It's like, it was so gut-wrenching, too, because he's still yes, he's arguing that strength is what's going to win this war, but he still fights like a Jedi. Unfortunately, when you're going up one against one, on Grievous, he's not going to pull any punches. He doesn't have honor anymore. Maybe he did once when he was, not human, but humanoid, when he wasn't this mechanical monstrosity. It's like he's lost everything that made him the once great warrior that you hear about, in other stories or like later on. It's like Grievous wasn't always this mechanical monstrosity. He was a person.
Of course.
But of course,
yeah.
Dooku warped him. And even he says to the medical droid, or the medical droid says to him, like, Master, I still can't understand why you, underwent the changes. And he goes, he slams the desk and he's like, improvements. I chose this on my own, like I am going to be stronger than anyone else. And even after he kills the apprentice, he looks at the security cameras and he's like, I will hunt you all down, Jedi. Do you hear me? I will kill you all. God. But yeah, I do really enjoy that episode as well.
What I think is very interesting too is how, in a way, like, it feels like the Separatists are constantly trying to win each other over, like, even in the face of death. It's just like, I'll try to kill someone harder just to prove that I'm worth it, you piece of shit.
Pretty much. Yeah.
No, because like it feels like it's so interesting how it feels like Grievous. Not that he falls in line, because I feel like there is a little bit of like animosity there towards Dooku, but like it always
definitely
but it always feels like both characters in the first 12 episodes, and maybe this happens throughout the show as well. And this is something I don't like about the show. It always feels like it's like, oh, we're about to have them captured or destroyed or something, and it's just like, oh, whoop bloop 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 bloop, oh, they're gone. We almost had them. And I know you can't catch them in the first fucking 3 episodes.
Right.
But, like, you put them so close to other characters, and you're like, oh, man, it's about that. Whoop, bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, nope, they're gone.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, no.
I do understand what you're saying. Like, that got to me eventually. Like, because in the first season, there are a lot of times where Grievous, like, you see, like, even similar animation of Grievous jumping into his ship and speeding away, and it's like, whoop, there goes Grievous. It's, like, right on cue. Like, they kind of get away from that a little bit more in the second season, because they're like, let's, reel back on that. It's like, it's funny.
Because, like,
I think it's more of a play. It's more of a play to show that no one is invincible. And I know it's kind of weird to show that because, yes, they are the main villains, and if you capture them and kill them now, that destroys the entire story. Like, it's over. But it's to show that anyone can slip up at any time. And, like, even if you're captured, your captors can still slip up and fuck up at any time, and you can get away.
Right.
Like, that's the reality of the war that they're facing. Like, even the Jedi get in those, situations a lot, too. Like, the one where Anakin, like, it starts out, Anakin captured, granted, that was part of their trap. But there are plenty of other times later on in the in the seasons where there's a Jedi Master captured because they were overrun, and it was a trap. And it's like, that's what it is back and forth, people falling into traps. And as best as each side tries to avoid that or prepare themselves for it, sometimes you just don't see it coming.
Yes, and I can understand that. Again, it's war, right? And it's like so it's different than like I think it's in a weird way it's more, and I guess is what some Star Wars fans liked about it, or many. I mean, I haven't heard a bad thing about Clone Wars. I've heard negative things from you and I guess from others as well about the first season, like, oh, it gets better, but I haven't heard anything negative about Clone Wars. So prove me wrong, Internet, but I haven't heard anything wrong personally.
Well, that's funny. Like, it started off in the beginning where people are like, oh, the Clone Wars, we're doing a series on this, really? And everyone really shit on it in the beginning. And then by season 2 or 3, all I heard was like, this is fucking amazing! And by the time it was done, everyone was literally bawling their eyes out like, no, you can't make this stop!
Yes, and I understand why. I mean, look, you have episodes 1, 2, and 3 happen. You're going to be a little bit fucking weary or wary of what's coming next. Weary as well, but wary of what's coming next.
Right.
Anywho, so what I want to say was, like I've heard, positive things. I haven't really heard much negative, but I do think that, wow, you made me forget completely, Tristan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, I was just going to say that I do think that, because of it, it being a war, it's a bit different, like of a different kind of pace than you'd normally be accustomed to with Star Wars and battles and things like that. Not that you didn't have your battles, not that you didn't have your action scenes. Like, no, it's an action-filled show, yes. My thing is, though, is like, it feels like usually a show will try to sit there and be like, yes, we've caught the bad guy, great. But this is a show where, like you said, you can't do just that. Like, maybe you could potentially have a scene where Dooku is captured for a season where Dooku is captured, but we all know that he has to leave.
Right. Because we all know his ultimate fate. And with Grievous, too. Same thing.
And yes. Like, I mean, it's funny, though. Grievous can get murderized in certain ways, and he can rebuild.
Yeah.
We know he'll rebuild, but he can rebuild, thankfully. Same can't happen with Dooku.
Oh, and there is one scene that I love. I think it was part of the Malevolence when they're trying to save Padme, and Obi-Wan goes to, like, deactivate the hyperdrive or something like that, or he's in the engine room. And the banter between Grievous and Obi-Wan is hysterical because it's usually variations of what they say to each other in Episode 3. So there's the scene when Obi-Wan jumps in on their meeting and he's like, hello there. And Grievous turns around like, who the fuck has the, and looks around. I'm like, oh, it's Kenobi. It's like they establish a history between the two of them. Like there are so many times where they've looked at each other. It's like, I'm gonna capture you. No, I'm gonna capture you. That it becomes almost like a thing between the two of them. Not like jokingly, but not taking away from the seriousness of, no, they're gonna try and kill each other.
No, I understand.
Grievous literally surrounds Obi-Wan and he says, "Hello there, Kenobi," and it's like, oh shit. They know. They're trying to establish this in the series, and I love it.
It's obvious they know each other, but, like, you forget that sometimes. Like, the movies, it isn't the first time these people are meeting. Right. It's just us looking at a glimpse into their lives because the story is always, ongoing.
Right.
So I was really I'm a really big fan of expanding a universe and making it a lot larger than than some of the movies or some other media may make it, and definitely I think episodes 1, 2, and 3, it was like, oh, we're expanding the universe because we're adding 3 more movies. It felt like you made it smaller, and Clone Wars makes it a lot larger than you'd ever realize.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Now. We were talking about Grievous, though. Like I said, I wanted to mention Grievous more, because I really like Grievous. Like I don't know what about him that I like. I mean, he kills Jedi. I shouldn't like that. So there's that I don't like. But I guess just his interactions with the battle droids, just his demeanor, the fact that you had the Separatists try to kill him. So it kind of like changed up their dynamic, and that's something that can go on. It was very interesting to see, and I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. And it's only been 12 episodes so far. Like it's like, wait a minute, there's more seasons of this, and more episodes in season 1 too. Like this is giving me a lot of fun, So I really enjoy Grievous and how he interacts with Dooku, and how it feels like, you're like, oh yeah, Grievous is whenever one of them is in the room, you feel like they're the big baddie, and you forget that the other one exists. And I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like one of them is a lackey for the other when they're fighting a Jedi. In other words, yes, it's like, oh, chain of command, right? Grievous, Ventress, Dooku, Palpatine.
And it's funny.
It never feels like... What?
No, like... It's later on, but like there is a scene between Grievous and Ventress, and they both look at each other like, I'm more powerful than you, right?
But still, but technically that's the chain of command right now, I would argue.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
it's weird. It's weird for Grievous and Ventress.
Dooku.
Right, because Ventress is kind of Dooku's secret apprentice. It's like he always, when he talks to Lord Sidious or Palpatine, he always calls her my assassin. He never says to Sidious, my apprentice, because technically Dooku is still Sidious's apprentice, and the rule of 2 with the Sith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there can only be 2.
No, it's just, the thing is, my take on it is just the fact that she's so connected to Dooku, next to him.
Oh, yeah.
Just chain of command doesn't mean that you're good at your job or that you're better at your job than... You can be a manager at a store and be worse than a fucking employee on the line, like just a low-level employee. I'm not saying that you're better than... Yeah.
Yeah, I was just arguing the fact that Grievous and Ventress kind of share a position of power. Like they're both on the same level, not necessarily that Ventress is above Grievous kind of thing. I would argue like I would say she's technically more powerful because she can tap into the Force, whereas Grievous can't. But yeah. My point is oh god, Grievous is Kenpachi. My point is is that does it make sense now? Can't you fucking see it? The medic droid is Yachidu. Can't you fucking see it? Oh god.
Anyway, Bleach references aside. Oh, by the way, so I don't know why I'm laughing at this so hard. I'm seeing Dooku hold a lightsaber, right? Like a CG'd lightsaber. It literally looks like they just fucking got the render model that they would use to make the toys and just imported it in there. Which, no shit, it makes sense, right? You have to have 3D models to then print out these toys. It's just really funny because it literally looks like a lightsaber that you and Anthony Sanandris have in your collections. No, like, look at it again, dude. You'll see it.
Yeah.
It's literally like the exact same model, and it's fucking hilarious. Anyway,
right.
like in a good way. Anyway.
Yeah. That's one thing
but
I like to point out about Clone Wars at the very beginning. Like, you'll notice, like, the animation is a little like here and there. Like, not really bad or anything, but, like, as you watch the seasons as they progress, the animation just gets better and better and better because they have more experience in what they're doing. When they first got together to do this, they're like, yeah, let's do this. We may not actually necessarily know exactly what we want to do or how we want to do it, but we'll figure that out as we go along.
Right.
And you
but
really
also
see
remember,
them start,
Yeah, just remember, at least when it came to the movie, like, that was a personal choice. Like, that wasn't based on their skill level. This season, however, yes, you're right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I want to mention, though, I was talking before about the power levels or just the general, like, having them all. The reason why I brought that up, not in power levels, but like the rankings in terms of like, who's higher than who, was because still, if you have Grievous there and then he's fighting the Jedi, or you have Ventress there, or you have Dooku there, it doesn't feel like one is more of a threat than the other. Like, oh, thankfully they take on Grievous, but if Dooku was there, it doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like every single time one of them is in a scene, they are the biggest threat they can be, and I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Well, no, it's obvious that they are, but but you look at certain shows and they, and I mean this not as a pun, but seriously, they show you, oh yeah, no, that one is that one's lackey, or oh yeah, no, they can take that one, but if that one showed up, I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Grievous could still give Anakin and Obi-Wan some trouble. Now, granted, they're really good, so maybe not as much as it would with, like, Kit Fisto, but it's still trouble regardless. That's my take on it. Like, it's still giving him trouble versus, like, oh, no, if it was Obi-Wan and Anakin, they could easily dispose of Grievous. But Dooku, no. Like, I know, like, yes, obviously Dooku is more powerful. Duh. Right? It's like, yes, of course he is. But it doesn't feel like you'd prefer one over the other. Like, I'll take Grievous, sure. No, it's like, I don't want either one of them. What about Ventress? No. Just get them all away.
And it's funny. I feel like it has to do with their tactics in a way, too. Like, if the Jedi have a chance to capture any one of them, like, they know they're a fearsome enemy, and it's like, no, but we have to take this chance. Like, sure, I might actually die during this fight, but we have to take this chance to get, to end this war. If we capture even one of them, it will significantly help our effort to end this conflict.
Yes,
meanwhile,
and that's another thing, too, it being a war. Because in, like, usually when it's not in war terms, right, or you're actually the logistics of a war, it's just like, no, we have to kill all the bad guys till there's none left. And people who actually, like, know about oppressive regimes, or at least trying to make an oppressive regime, would be like, yeah, because no one's going to take their place.
Right.
No, because that Darth Vader guy died, and then no one showed up ever again. The end. Don't watch episode 7. That might spoil something. Like,
well,
no, but it's true though. Killing Vader, like, didn't mean that there was peace throughout the galaxy forever and ever and ever. No, Kylo Ren was like, nah, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna step in for my No, because that's what happens, right? Powerful regimes just end up, like, their family members end up taking the reign, or end up taking the reins. Like, it's so just the idea that, like, because in any other show, I feel like, obviously they need to keep Dooku alive for episode 3, and same thing with Grievous. But, like, any other show would be like, no, we have to kill, like, we have to take them out no matter what the cost. And it's like, but that's not how war works. You have to take prisoners, and then maybe help, because of that, they will stop the fight, because our leader has been captured. It's a giant game of capture the leader, not just, like, murder the leader.
Right. Whereas for the Sith, it is that game. It's like, yes, they can capture them and bargain with the Republic, but their goal is to murder everyone, and it's basically their tactic is they will only the Jedi will run up and take on the challenge. The Sith will only run up and take the challenge when they know that the odds are in their favor. And the Jedi will run up, even if the odds are not in their favor, if they don't have a choice, like they'll try to not run into those kinds of fights. But if the fight presents itself and you find yourself there, it's like, I have to do this. Like there's enough riding on me where I am willing to make this sacrifice if that's what it comes down to. The Sith are like, nah, I'm only going to do this if I know I can win. And if I know the battle is not going in my turn, I'm going to run the fuck away.
Right,
and that's what they always fucking do. They're yeah, you'll find that, cowardice is the way of the Sith.
Yeah.
Even Yoda said it in the first episode.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because you would think, no, but they fight on anger. Like, why is that such a bad emotion? Like, it helps them get stronger. It's like, yeah, but if they're bested in any way, it's just like, oh, no, I gotta run away.
Right.
Because I have to like, it's so funny. Yeah, no, it's so funny because, like, you would think that the live to fight another day isn't, like, it's not a terrible thing to go by. But the Jedi would actually be like, no, yes, like, obviously if we're really going to die, then we'll live to fight another day. But we're not going to kill you. We're trying to take you in. So you're not going to die. It's like, nope, still live for another day. What do you mean live? We weren't going to kill you. We're just going to take you in. No, but I can't be captured. Ah. It's like, fight me. No. Right? So it's a bit different. No, because, I talk about this when I, with Satish Graham, do WWE podcasts sometimes, where it feels like good guys and bad guys will have the same traits, but because it's a good guy or a bad guy doing it, the commentary team will say it differently.
Right.
What I mean by that is, like, you could have a bad guy, like, completely mercilessly beat someone down, and you've seen it happen, Tristan, and it'll be like, how could you? That's terrible. How dare he do something like this? I've shown Tristan bits of WWE. And then the good guy could do it. And not the same good guy to the bad guy, but a separate case altogether. And they'll be like, well, a classic showing here. I mean, he did what he had to do. Now, I don't think you've seen that part happen, but when it happens, it's so fucking jarring because you're like, literally a bad guy did this last week, and we were all mad about it.
Right.
So, but here it makes sense, though, because in this case, right, it's like, no, the bad guys will kill you. So Jedi saying, live to fight another day is actually, like, keyword live.
Right.
Where with the Sith, it's kind of just like, okay, guys, or anyone on the side of the Separatists, it's just like, we're just going to capture you. We're not going to, like, torture you or hurt you. We're just capturing you. No, but I'm going to run away. Run away.
Right. Well, because basically they know for them that capture is death. Not even necessarily by their captors.
Arguably,
but by their own people. It's like, you failed me for the last time.
But it wouldn't happen if Dooku. I'm pretty sure Dooku would just would pardon himself. I have a strange feeling.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if Grievous took charge and killed Dooku, but I feel like Dooku would. I know technically Palpatine could kill him, but like he's still a senator at this point. He hasn't come out as like evil Sith Lord. So like at this point, I feel like Dooku would be like, so I know we constantly talk about death because of for capture, but I'm going to think we should change that. Any yays? Any nays? I'm 51% of the yays. I say yes, change it. So we're going to change that.
Right.
I love it. Dooku, I'm 51% of the yays. So we're going to change the death for capture thing.
Right.
But no, I feel like Dooku would pardon himself if need be.
Yeah.
But I know, if Grievous was captured, Dooku would fucking murder him. He'd set Ventress to just kill him.
Yep.
But you're right. And that's something amazing to think about, by the way. Not amazing in a good way, just like amazing, like, wow, like it's crazy. Because, no, because here's the thing. The Separatists, right, people, and I even was on this team, Tristan. I was on team what the fuck. When anyone was like, I'm going to join the Separatists and be with the Sith, and I was on team what the fuck, because I'm like, dude, or dudette, whoever you are, whatever humanoid being you are, you're going to die.
Right.
They're going to kill you. However, I heard your voice in my head, which doesn't always happen, but maybe Star Wars related. So I heard your voice in my head, and you were like, Matt, who's going to tell them they're dead? And I was like, right, Tristan, in my head.
I mean, that's definitely part of it. The other part of it is...
What?
Well, the other part of it is, like, Dooku is the leader of the Separatist Alliance. Like, he is their... He's the leader. He's the... whatever you want to call it. I keep forgetting what the actual term is. But,
assholes.
People... the people... Not like the droids or the Sith. The people that he technically represents look at him because he's very charismatic. like people kind of joke about how Dooku kind of came out of nowhere for episode 2 and 3. Whereas, everyone argues that Maul was killed off too soon. And you kind of get you get to see Dooku in his role, his face for the people. Like, the people in the government look up to him. They revere him. He's compassionate. He's charismatic. He's experienced. And no one actually realizes that he's a Sith Lord. He's organizing half of this war behind your backs.
Wait, but then who knows that? Wait, so I'm confused. So wait. So the Senate doesn't know that? I'm confused. So who doesn't know that Dooku is evil?
No, they have no idea. And that's the thing.
Wait,
that's why he's usually not the one on the front lines. That's why he usually sends out Ventress.
But the
or
Jedi
Grievous.
know.
Oh, the Jedi know. But the
Jedi work with the Senate.
The Jedi work with the Republic. And there are people who are not pleased with how the Republic is basically running the galaxy. They see the corruption. There are things that are corrupt about the Republic. It's the big government that's the basically big lumbering beast that's been in charge for thousands of years.
But the Senate is not part of the government.
It's funny. That's the thing.
They're
one
more
of the things that people.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Are
Sure.
they more like a UN than they are an American Senate because of how many different representatives they get throughout the galaxy?
You mean the Senate or the Jedi?
Yeah. No, the Senate.
Because I would argue. Okay. No. Well, the Senate tries to represent everyone, but like it is in our universe, politicians can be bought off to say a specific thing or to say a not specific thing.
Okay. No, the reason why I mentioned the UN is because the reason why is because I could imagine people on the UN not knowing that Dooku because of how far they span. I can imagine some people in the UN not knowing, oh yeah, this Dooku guy because of how large the galaxy is, how large he spans. But I can't imagine a local Senate. I know it's not local, but that's what I'm saying. The U.S. Senate not knowing that guy is a war criminal.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? When I think of U.S. Senate, it's so much smaller than a UN, which has representatives from around the world.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, so that's why I compare. I was so is this? Yeah.
I would argue that the Jedi are more of the UN, but that's the thing. The Jedi know that Dooku is a Sith.
Yeah.
But the Jedi are technically not supposed to they're not supposed to be on anyone's side. This whole war kind of, you see it later on in the series, kind of perverts the idea of what the Jedi's role in the galaxy is supposed to be. They are peacekeepers by definition. They are not supposed to be on anyone's side. They're supposed to come in when two different parties can't settle their differences, and the Jedi come in for a third look and say, look, there's got to be a way we can work this out. Let's everybody cool down. Now the Jedi are with the Republic. They're on a side. So the Separatists are I'm not going to listen to a Jedi. I've never met a Jedi. There are plenty of people I know who have seen Jedi kill, people that they knew.
Yeah. I just love it so much.
Or clone troopers kill people that they knew. And it's the Jedi are the generals for the clone troopers, so they must be just as bad. And then the whole thing starts to spiral.
Yes, I just love the phrase. I love the phrase, Jedi are supposed to be peacekeepers, kind of in the middle. All right, everyone, let's calm things down. By the way, let's kill Dooku. But everyone, let's just calm down right now. Also, Palpatine looks a little weird. Let's kill him too. That's just the way we'll bring both sides together. We'll kill Palpatine and Dooku. And literally, Palpatine and Dooku look at each other do they know, or is this are they making a mistake and they don't realize? Imagine that. We have to kill one from each side. We have the wonderful Republic Senator Palpatine. Do they know? And also we have Count Dooku of the Separatists.
It's kind of funny, you're joking about
him.
But that's basically how Palpatine does it in the end. When the Jedi come to when Mace comes in with the other masters and says, your reign of terror is over, and he's like, it's treason then. It's I own the Senate. It's not yet you don't. It's Yeah, so I got a story to tell you, and you're not going to live long enough to hear it, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so, but yes, no, I understand the conflict a bit more now because I feel like the movies didn't really delve into this as much as you have been with me. Like,
right.
I know that the Jedis aren't, like, the Jedi are supposed to be peacekeepers, but in this case, it still feels like they're peacekeepers, but you're like, no, but that's supposed to be on a side. And it's like, right. Like, I feel like episodes 1, 2, and 3 didn't really delve into that as much as you currently are.
And that's the beauty of this series. Like, you only get the very beginning of the Clone Wars and the very end. This series bridges at least, I keep forgetting how long the Clone Wars actually is, but I'm pretty sure it's at least a 4 or 5 year gap. Like, and it's a war going on for 4 or 5 years across an entire galaxy. That is, like, 4 or 5 years doesn't seem that long to us, but it's like they are at war for 4 or 5 years throughout an entire galaxy, spanning multiple worlds and billions of people. That is big fucking deal.
And also think of it like this, too, right? We've been at war in the real world for a very long time. We're in the U.S. We've been at war for a while.
Yeah.
But we're not in the war zone. We're not in the active war zone, right? At least you and I aren't, right? And many people in the U.S. aren't. We're just sitting around watching things on television. Like, I'm being, like, dead serious, or going on with our lives in other ways. If you're in an active war zone 4 to 5 years, you're going to fucking feel it.
Yeah.
So, like, in a way, I don't know how this show ends at all. I don't know what happens during the show. But, like, this show could further shape and make you understand why Anakin is the way he is in Episode 3. Not just, but my visions.
Oh, yes. No. Trust me. If this series doesn't do it, like, doesn't show Anakin in a different light for you, then I'm sorry, nothing will.
Yeah, and I mean that, and we mean that, and I assume in a way that's in a good light at first, and then slowly turning towards that dark side that we know and hate. Because
I'm not gonna lie, Anakin still has his moments here and there where it's like, whoa, Anakin, like, you want to chill out a little there, bro? But it's few and far between. Like, you get to see the good side of Anakin prominently throughout Clone Wars, and then here and there he'll do something, because you'll see him do really great things and say, like, be compassionate, and then he'll flip the switch for a second, and you're like, oh shit, like, he just flipped the switch. And the music will play too, and it's like, oh fuck, right? It's like, and then you remember, like, oh crap, like, no, I like you, stop.
Giving him Ahsoka was such a good idea.
Oh, that too. Oh god.
No, it really was, because, like, I understand how people felt about her at first, but I get it, right?
Yeah.
But I really think that it was a great idea. It was just smart, to me anyway. Because, like, you have to, because at first I was like, oh, it's smart because as a kid, you know, they can connect to her, and that's pretty cool, right? But even putting that aside, I just feel like, I don't know, man, I just feel like it's, like her character kind of grounds him. So he's able to actually, like, when he's a good person, he has someone to be a good person. Because if she wasn't there, it could be more scenes of him joking around with Obi-Wan, which would be funny, right? I have to admit, it would be funny. But I love Obi-Wan's dad jokes. It would be funny. But the problem is that after a while, you wouldn't have any, like, what other way could you develop Anakin and have him actually impart wisdom or try to connect to another human being? Because you've already known Obi-Wan for so long, they already have their established dynamic. You needed something new. Right? And, like, the only other way I can think of changing it, not saying this would be better or worse, would be making it a little boy. That's it. Like, it had to be someone young. That's what mattered. Right? I'm happy a little girl, though, because representation.
I am too.
Right? Because we have little boys throughout the fucking entire universe, or just boys in general, the entire fucking universe. We can use a girl character who isn't fucking Ventress.
Yeah, I mean, technically, there are Jedi Masters that are female too, and granted,
I know we just don't.
You don't see them as much as Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda. Yeah, like, I get it.
Ahsoka, So, like, that's why I'm just like, I'm really happy they made her, honestly. And people can, I understand why people could, you know, be upset and could, you know, their opinions can differ.
And
but I feel like
become such a rallying point for people in Star Wars.
Yeah.
She's almost like, I would argue, she's, you know, up there with Princess Leia, you know? Like, or just Leia Organa in general, or General Organa, like.
Yeah.
She's that influential. Ahsoka has become a character that is that influential.
I like to hear that, and we'll see that as we go throughout the series. Now, you mentioned the animation before. I want to mention one thing I didn't like. I did like the animation, right? Even though, like I said, it was more of a stylistic choice according to Lucas. I don't know if you want to believe him or not. That's like I think I said it last episode of Clone Wars too.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe him, but it was a stylistic choice that the first, the pilot movie looked quote unquote worse, right? A bit different than than this series. However, yes, even though it's a stylistic choice, I have to say, just like you, I enjoy this style more. Right? It is more refined. It does look better. Just like again, like I don't know, like the thing is that like for me, right? It's like the way you call it, like a stylistic choice and whatever. It would be as if like you and I said Robot Chicken animation is terrible, and you're like, well, why is it terrible? Well, it's not even CG, and it's like that. What? But it's stop motion.
That's not the point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a different kind of animation altogether. But but it's just a terrible kind. You just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's how I look at the first pilot movie. However, I can understand someone saying they didn't like it. Like after seeing the first 12 episodes of Clone Wars, I'm like, I like this better.
Yeah, it's funny. I always thought of that in the sense of going from live action to an animated series. Like we wanted to do an animated series, like that was the stylistic choice, and not have it be live action. But I mean, because a live action budget would be a lot bigger, I would argue.
My God.
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
you have
that's
to
what I
recast
thought.
everyone.
Right, that too. Right.
Here's the thing of the casting. You're not going to get everyone again just for a TV series. They're movie people.
Exactly.
You can't get Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, you could, but again, you'd be spending a lot of money, and Disney didn't own the franchise at the time.
Arguably, shit. I mean, I don't even know if Disney could pull that off. Like, they got a lot of money.
They could.
Shit.
No, they could. Disney, at least Disney could. I'm not saying that they would. Remember, they also are sitting back thinking, should we spend the money on this? Like, would people spend money on? And it's a TV series, which means that it was not going to make as much money as a movie would.
Right.
Yeah. Even with the ad space.
Yeah, they'll throw the money at the movie, and they're throwing money at the animated series too, because even Rebels now has its tie-ins with they had some tie-ins with Rogue One, and I really love that. But
yes, and
that's in the future. But yeah.
But here's something I didn't like though. So I like the animation. I didn't like the music. Now here's the reason why I say I didn't like it. I like the music if you detached it from Star Wars. No, here's what's funny. I'm sorry. Let me explain.
Yeah.
You're like, you didn't like the music at the end of the episodes? No. I love the intro outro music. It's just there was some music that they put in the middle of certain episodes, like like
I know exactly
R3
what you're
Trader.
talking about.
Yeah, like R3, it's like R3 Trader 3, or Trader 2.
Yes.
That guy. That
yes, that's another
like that.
Right. I have to ask you quickly.
I told
was that your
everyone's
favorite?
A traitor.
Was that your favorite with R2 and the trader droid?
I don't know if it was my favorite, but thinking back now, I forgot how much I did like it though, because I liked the fight.
Yeah.
I liked here's what I liked. I liked that they didn't think we were stupid. Now, here's the thing. Him being a traitor, just like the other guy that was a traitor, it was very apparent. However, when it happened the first time, it wasn't as apparent to me because I was worried that a show like this would, because it's a show intended for children as well, would be like, oh no, he's just that wacky, even though he's a fucking newer model.
Right.
Like, I know that I can get the theme of, hey, sometimes your older things work better than the newer things, right? Because, they just work better for you. But it's fucking a newer model. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's going to be a different layout, let's say, right? But if you get a newer piece of technology, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and just be like, oh, no, my older piece of technology. Like, I'm sorry, but if you look at game systems, you look at phones, you look at anything, like, I'm not going to look at my fucking flip phone and be like, that's just better than my new Android touchscreen phone. Like, no, it's not. The keyboard's better, but other than that, I get fucking apps now. I have maps. I know where I'm going. No, seriously, I had a flip phone for the longest time because of the physical keyboard, and it was really cheap to upkeep. I get an Android phone, and I can do so much now.
Right.
I have internet wherever I go. That's crazy to me. Like, sorry. And I know you have an older phone too, but like you understand what I'm saying. Like that phone, yes, you can consider it like your R2. But if you get an R3 model, it's not gonna fucking slap you in the face. Like, if you got a newer phone, right? It's not gonna fucking hit you in the face like, oh my god, my phone's hitting me.
I
like,
mean,
no,
to be
it's
fair,
not how technology works.
Mine might do that.
Your current one, not your newer one. Like the newer one would, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like it's not how technology works. It's not like, yes, there are some drawbacks to newer stuff, but like it's not going to be that. So the fact that he turned out to be a traitor, I was like, oh, thank God.
Right.
Like,
and you mean to the fact that
R3.
He kept sabotaging them. Yeah, R3 was sabotaging
because it didn't feel like a sabotage. It felt like
the episode.
Yeah, no, like it was fucking up so hard that I felt like it's like, oh, we're actually able to translate its beeps into sounds. Misa Misa R3. Like that's how much it was screwing up. If they translated its beeps into sounds, it would just be Jar Jar. Like beeps into English language, it would be Jar Jar. So my take on it is I'm happy he was a traitor.
Yeah.
I don't like that they put that traitor episode very close to the other guy being a traitor because it felt, not that it was lazy, but like it makes me sit here and just scream like, everyone's a fucking traitor. How do they not know? Everyone's traiting everyone. Traitoring everyone.
I mean, how I looked at it was basically like, oh yeah, people can be traitors, but guess what? Droids can be too.
No,
That's how
I liked
thought
that.
Of it.
No,
yeah.
I liked it. I just didn't like that they were so close to each other.
Right.
But I like well, of course people can be traitors, duh. But like the droids, I was like, oh shit, they're sentient, right? They can be traitors too. That's pretty cool.
That's why I love when Grievous, like he's taking apart. Oh God, that made me cry a little bit on the inside when Grievous was taking apart R2. But he's like, it's okay, my little friend. We're all droids here. It's like you don't have to keep secrets from us. I'm like, it's like if we could translate R2 right now, he'd probably be screaming like, go fuck yourself,
Yeah,
like R2 is the sassiest mofo I've ever seen.
He goes one-on-one with C-3PO. Of course he's sassy.
Oh
yeah. But speaking of, but when I talk about the music, right? There was music like during the scene where R3 was sabotaging them and they had to fight those droids.
Right.
And something about the music that they put into it, and some other music that they put in that was a bit more techno-y. I like it outside of the Star Wars franchise. I don't think I like it in the Star Wars franchise because this franchise, according to Lucas, and again, it's very hard for me to say according to Lucas and be okay with it, but according to Lucas, the series is more of a fantasy, right? It's more of it's more of like Space Lord of the Rings, if you will. I don't think that was his quote, but still, like Space Lord of the Rings. So the idea is like, it's a fantasy series, but also set in space. So I don't feel like the music hits. Like that's why when you have a John Williams score, you're like, oh my god, that's great. Like it would be weird if just like you just had Luke staring into the sunset. It was like, it'd be like that would be fucking weird to me, man.
I feel like they just threw in some alternate tracks to be like, they were just kind of to fill time in the sense.
The void,
like, like little bits of downtime or like trying to do something else with an action scene that was like action-y but not like a full-scale battle because we use a lot of the big booming and like classical stuff for like the big, space battles or like, big lightsaber duels, So they wanted to try out like smaller. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I felt kind of the same way. Like when I heard it, I was like, that's not John Williams. That's just, okay, it was interesting, but I'm like, I see what you're trying to do, but it's a little weird. It didn't feel like Star Wars. I get
it's John Williams' cousin. JW2! Boom, 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 boom. Oh, God. Like, that's how it felt.
Beep,
like,
boop, boop, beep.
Yeah, right? It's actually a droid at a fucking turntable.
Yeah.
The droid attaches itself to the fucking turntable, so it just stops the records and spins them without even touching it.
Yep. Oh God.
Because it's attached to the entire turntable.
Matt, you don't understand. I need this now.
Oh, don't worry. The next rhythm game that Disney creates, you'll probably have it.
Oh.
I had to remind him. Do the Han Solo. Anyway.
Never mind. fuck, I hate you.
You're now laying down on your bed and you're just fucking Grievous with no arms and with no legs.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh,
it's like,
man.
I don't know
anyway.
why you do this to yourself, Master. You go and, cast with him, and then he destroys you on live radio. Shut up and put my legs on! Oh, God.
Oh, by the way, I love their dynamic. I mentioned earlier that I love the Medic Droid, but I love their dynamic because you look at, that's the one thing, you can say person if you will, but it's the one thing that Grievous can't kill. Because then he could never be fixed again. And it's perfect because the Medic Droid knows it. So he doesn't give a fuck.
Nope.
Because everyone else, hello, Lord Grievous, gets sliced in half. Well, I'm sliced in half. Right? Like Battle Droid, like just a random droid. But with fucking Medic Droid, it's just like, you will make me better. And it's just like, oh, will I really, Master? Will I really? Maybe you shouldn't just, maybe next time I won't. And it's like, what's Grievous going to do? That's his Medic Droid.
You could argue that he could get another Medic Droid, but the fact that he needs him right then and there to repair him, it's like, he's not going to destroy you as willingly because it's like, I need someone to fix me. It's like,
well, I feel like
what's
that's his
the magic
R2.
Word? It's like,
no, like that's his R2. Like, he'd have to teach
put
a whole.
my legs on.
No, because I feel like that's his R2, so you need to teach another one everything about Grievous.
Right.
It's like, fuck it, I have this model. I don't talk to him unless I need him, and then this is when he's giving me the utmost fucking sass.
Yeah.
Sass? Oh, I am so sorry, sir. Please forgive me. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, it's
wonderful. Yeah. But
there's even a part where,
there
was even a bit where, like you say, Grievous will slice anyone else in half. Like Dooku, when they're on the Malevolence, because the battle droid said something stupid. Oh, that was the other thing. You love that the battle droids here and there are comic relief.
Oh, yeah. They're a lot of fun. I love the battle droids so much.
Yeah. And it's funny, at first I thought that was a little too kid-like. Like, I get it, like, we have the comic relief droids for the kids. And they start to roll it back a little bit more as the series goes on, but there are still those golden moments where a battle droid... But I feel like it gets more refined. Like, they'll wait for a good opportunity for a battle droid to be like, hey, did you notice this? And you're like, oh, fuck. And you laugh about it, and then they blow up or something, It's not just, hey, dumb, stupid battle droid, blame my programming, yuck, yuck, yuck.
I laughed very hard as, hey, have you ever killed a Jedi?
No. Have you? No. No,
I can understand why
that stuff is beautiful.
I can understand why some people wouldn't like them, but I laughed really hard at most of those lines coming from battle droids because... I mean, earlier on, like in the first few episodes, they kind of dominated a lot because you were, Grievous was on the ship with them and everything, and it was the Malevolence. But, once you kind of gotten away from that, they rarely appear in the first 12 episodes after you get out of that arc. And when they do, I just think they're really funny to me. It's just literally kind of, it's just like, oh, no, the Jedi. And it's just like, oh, wait, or it's just like, wait a minute, that's a Jedi. Misa? And it's just like, oh, no. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy the battle droids a lot. I think they're very
fun. The Jedi?
Fun.
Well, what does he look like? He'll be the small, shriveled-up green one with a lightsaber!
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Anyway,
I do
so
we're going to wrap things up here.
Well, okay, one last one, and then we'll go.
Please,
Dooku says to Grievous, oh, Lord Grievous, you shouldn't be so rough with the battle droids. You don't see the Jedi, being, so unforgiving with their clone troopers. And Grievous doesn't even say anything. He just, turns and he just, growls at him, and he just, goes back to work.
I love, by the way, the clone troopers, because even though they're all voiced by the same guy.
Oh, yeah. Rookies.
Yeah.
The episode,
even though they're all voiced by the same guy. They do certain things to make sure that you know that they're different people, not just because they've advanced in ranks or whatever, but even when they meet some random ones, right?
Yeah.
They end up, one of them is bloody, so he puts his bloody handprint on the guy, and it's like, good. So now you can differentiate them not just based on their names that they've given each other as jokes, but just the fact that, one of them has a bloody handprint. You need that. You need something to identify them because the three new ones that get introduced, they're all the same voice actor. They're clones, so they look the same. They don't have their helmets on.
And I love the fact, that group, it's funny, that group of 5 clone troopers, Heavy and Cut Up and Fives, Akko, you revisit them like a lot throughout the series, and it's so beautiful. Like you get attached to them over time, and it's kind of like it's bad, but it's great in a way. And like I won't say too much more because I want you to see it, but like it's beautiful that they actually develop as characters, even though they're just like you said. It's like sometimes it's hard to differentiate when they all have their helmets on. It's like they're all clone troopers. It's like no, but you're right. All of them actually do have their own personality, and that's amazing.
And that's good. You need that. And I think that I like that the clone troopers are different people because because they're clones, because there's this idea that when you're cloned directly from someone and like they're like directly from them in like a movie or a TV show, and it's usually done as comic relief, but like if it's the direct like exact clone, like thought for thought, it'll like at the same time it'll be like, wait, what are you doing? Wait, what am I doing? Are we talking at the same time? Because it's understandable that a clone would be like that if you were a direct clone, right?
If you were a copy.
Yes, you're a copy. But if you're a clone that was raised differently, has seen different battles, has had different experiences, it doesn't matter. Like, you could literally, like, Tristan, you could have been born and cloned at the exact moment of your birth. But if you were given to a different family, or your clone was, or whatever,
you'd be two different people. Right.
Two different people, yeah. All like maybe some similarities, maybe, but even depending on where in the world you're put, you may literally be completely different.
Right. Well, that's
also
like
another
this
thing to
is
think
basically the ultimate what if scenario. It's like, well, what if I grew up like this, or what if I did this? It's like, it's the same person, but it's so many different branching variations because of the experiences that they go through.
Yeah. I mean, heck, even if you were technically cloned and put in the same house with the same family, it would still be a different experience because you two would be raised, like it would be split between you two.
Right.
Versus just you being raised alone as a single child.
Right.
You'd arguably be twins, but even then, it would still depend on how your parents raised you. It would be crazy to think about. Like, also think of it like this too, right? If you were cloned normally, like in the way that I assume they're cloned, you would already be like 24 right now, and your clone would be. So, like, just the fact that you grew up in the 90s would fucking change your clone.
Right. It's actually different for the clones. Like, they're brought up from basically an embryo and then grown, but they have an accelerated growth process. But they go through, like, extensive training, like, through all of that.
Yeah, I know. But still, it's just crazy to think about. Like, you would be a clone. Like, you would be. Well, I'm sorry, what?
Sorry. No. Like, I remember, like, you've seen the movies, and they did establish that in the movies. So, yes, you do understand all that. Sorry.
Yeah. That's fine. People may forget. I mean, who wants to remember? And speaking of that, think about it, right? You, right, as Tristan Walter, you grew up in a world before episodes 1, 2, and 3 existed. Your clone now is in a world where 1, 2, and 3 exist. They never had a chance at a good life.
Oh, my God.
However, I mean, they do have episode 7, so there's a chance.
Yeah.
Right, and Rogue One.
And they have this series. Come on.
Of course. Well, I'm talking about the main movies.
All right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, remember, it's funny. You grew up in a world with Ewoks, though, so, I mean, you turned out okay.
Oh.
So maybe he'll be okay with 1, 2, and 3.
Maybe.
Your clone. Maybe. Anyway, so we're going to wrap things up here. We love talking to you guys about this. I know Tristan has a lot more to say, and he can save it for the next 10 episodes that we do, which should be the week after this one is released. It's funny. I know that we teased releasing this about, I think, 2 weeks ago, but we had some technical difficulties. Then we tried doing it the week after, and then we also had some technical difficulties.
You know, we tried to set up a Republic base. We tried to set up a Separatist base. You know, things got wacky in the middle, but here we are.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Now, that's how. Yeah. I mean, everyone knows. Like, everyone's experienced that at least once in their life. So, but here we are. We did the first part of season 1. Very happy about that. Next part should be out next week. As of this coming out, it'll be out the week after. It should, if everything works out well. Fingers crossed. May the force be with you, and also with. So anyway. But we're going to end the episode right here. I want to thank you all, as always. Love that you guys listening in, listening to us talk about Clone Wars. And this is a show that Tristan has seen a lot, but my first time watching it. So it's going to be a very interesting experience for me. But if you want to see us play Star Wars, you can go over to our, Star Wars Battlefront. You can go over to our Let's Play channel. Those guys play, and check that out there. I've played it with both Tristan Walter and Anthony San Andres, and things get pretty wacky there, too. And next month you'll see the climax of that on our Those Guys Play YouTube channel. Also, Tristan and I played a lot of different games. Currently, I have Season 3 running, and Tristan and I have actually played Dragon Ball Z Budokai, a game that he and I love from our childhood. So we definitely are going to continue that as well. You may have even seen the continuation of it, and you can get that and a bunch of other things that I've played with a bunch of other hosts, and even my series, Mapping the Infamous Childhood, where I play games from my childhood. Currently playing Crash Bandicoot 2, Link to the Past, and Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. So you can catch that all, again, Those Guys Play. Also, you can get some of our merchandise for Those Guys Play and for some of our other things that we do, like our podcast, like TG Productions, over at our main website, which is tgproduction.net/merchandise, or thoseguysradio.tumblr.com/merchandise. Either one will take you right to the merch. So you can get that there. You can also go to our Patreon, which is TG Production, which you can donate to us there, and we can give you special goodies, like we can give you a shout-out because you can be a sponsor for the podcast or the Let's Play, or you can actually tell us what podcasts and Let's Plays to do. You can say, hey, do this, or hey, do that, and we'll listen to you, right? I mean, within human reason, we'll listen to you. We'll do any topic you want. It doesn't have to just be a show or a movie. It could be a general concept, like who's your favorite Star Wars character, or who's your least favorite Star Wars character, or something like that. So, again, go to our Patreon, TG Production. You can, TG Productions. You can donate there, and you can work something out. So there's that. There's also, I mentioned our main website. Didn't mention that our social media accounts are our Facebook, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio, and our Instagram, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio. Also, we have 2 other YouTube channels. We have our TG Productions YouTube channel, which has a lot of fun, wacky stuff that gets uploaded there on a schedule. What's the schedule, Matt? It gets released on a schedule. And we also have our older podcast, so you can find our archive stuff not only through Blog Talk Radio, which is Those Guys on the Radio, not only through iTunes, which is you can search up Those Guys. You can also find it on our YouTube channel, which is Those Guys on the Radio. So, yeah, that's all of our stuff, Tristan.
Matt, how can you go through that so fast? It's part of my programming.
It's part of my programming. I am programmed in 3,000 forms of advertising. Anyway, so that's just me. I am programmed in so many forms of advertising. If these were filmed, you'd see us in our Those Guys Play shirts. Anyway, so yes, so we want to thank you all. As always, we love that you guys are here. And I say that a lot, but I truly mean it. It just really means a lot to see so many viewers, or listeners in this case, actually listening to us give our opinion on a show that ended actually not that long ago because of the newer season, but right? Still, it didn't end that long ago because it's been a few years. But if they didn't release that new season, it would have been even longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna end it here. We're done. So may the force be with you.
No, that's my line. Damn it.
Right. Sorry. Say goodnight, Tristan.
Well, now you've ruined it.
And also with you. Fuck, you're supposed to say, may the force be with you. Now you ruined it. And also with you. You ruined it, Tristan. You ruined it.
I'm going to force choke you.